filming. All right, tell me if I'm on here. That's better. Hello, anybody there? Yeah, you can communicate. You're in the video, honey, just so you know. If you don't want to be in the video. All right, looks like I might be on here. Hello, anybody home? Oh, I hear a bunch of beeping. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Hi. Anybody home? Hi, friends. I'm inviting some people. And let's see if anybody's there. I hear all this beeping.
She says okay, but I don't know.
Let's see. Ask her, can you see her? Okay. All right. I see somebody. I do. I see somebody, but I don't know who. I can't see who's watching, but I can see that somebody is watching. Honey, if you can just keep in touch and find out what's going on that end. Okay, well,
can't see yet. Let me see.
I think some people are on here. It looks like there are 4 people, although I can't tell. I'm not seeing any comments. 5 people. Hi. Now, oh, hi, Paul. There you are. Okay, so apparently I am on. And Paul, I need you to help me out because I can't. Oh my God, Steve, I need this plugged in. I'm going to be out of battery. Holy moly. Paul, am I on? There you are. Okay. All right. My computer may die here in a minute. The yellow bag's in our room. Okay. All right. Looks like we're here. Okay. Looks like we got 7 people here. Hey, everybody. I am Connie Stapleton, and I am so excited to be in the bariatric surgery community here tonight. Let's see. I don't know how to add you. This is terrible. Okay. Not sure how to do the adding. All right. If you click on my name, hi, everybody. I'm not seeing how to add. I'm sorry. Even when I click on your name, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this. God. All right. Good evening, Gary. All right. Hi, Darren. All right. Hi, Paul. All right. Well, all right. I'm not going to worry about that because I don't know how to do that. My husband's back here trying to plug this thing in. We're hoping it will work. I'm just going to go ahead and start. I do have a very low battery here, so I may have to move my seat a little bit. But tonight, what we're going to be talking about is we are going to be talking about learning to love yourself. And the reason that is so important is because, well, I'm going to ask you all a few questions, and then you'll know the reason, okay? All right, we are good to go, I think. All right. Self-love is the word of the day. So here we go. I want to welcome everybody. I'm sorry for the rocky start. Please push share so that all your friends can join us this evening. Is it evening where you are? I am very, very confused. You know, I'm from the U.S., right? I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am currently in Santorini, Greece. And I got to tell you, it is phenomenally beautiful here. And I am in this little cave house. You know, we did one of those VRBOs. Absolutely amazing. Right on the cliff of the sea. And I went in that sea today. And I want you to know, it was gorgeous and cold. Very, very, very cold, but beautiful. 7 p.m. in London. Oh, I totally love London. It's like, I've been there like maybe 2 or 3 times and I could spend forever there. Really love it. And you guys had some fun stuff going on this weekend. All right, so self-love, the word of the day. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to, hi, Carrie, just answer them in your mind, or you can type in your answer, okay? One of the questions that I ask people all the time. And if you didn't know, I'm a psychologist. So if I'm coming across like I'm a psychologist, it's because I actually am a psychologist. And I've worked in the bariatric community for the past 15 years, and I have found a home here and a place that I love and people that I love. So I plan to stay here. So one of the things that I ask people a lot, because my favorite thing to do is work with patient groups. So I say, if I ask you this question, what is your answer? And when you answer, I want you to use a feeling word, like mad, sad, scared, depressed, anxious, disgusted, whatever comes to mind, all right? The first question is, when I think about myself, I feel. So just broadly, when I think about myself, I feel blank. So you can type your word in, or you can think the word, or whatever you want to do with that. The next question is, when I think about how I believe others think about me, so when you think about what other people think of you, I feel what? I feel, kind of, how do you think other people feel or think about when they think about you? Next question. When I think about my body, I feel. When I think about my body, I feel blank. Not good enough. When I think about how I think other people feel about my body, I feel. So how do you think other people feel about your body? And when you think about that, how do you feel? Okay, I'm with you on the old and wrinkly, right? All right, here are some of the words, right? Horrid, old, wrinkly, vile, sick, disgusted, fat, lazy, not good enough, fat, ashamed, broken, ashamed, frustrated, gross, disgusted. Okay, none of that's positive, right? Now I'm going to switch things just a little bit. When I think about my best friend and how I think about her or him, I feel what? When you think about your best friend, how do you feel? How do you feel when you think about your best friend? Love. It's interesting because not only is my husband best friend here with me, but my girlfriend best friend of like almost 30 years and her husband are here with me. And when I think about her, exactly the things you're saying, right? They're the best. Love, giggly, happy, proud, love, right? Lots of great things. So when you think about your partner, how do you feel? When you think about your children, when you think about your parents, when you think about people you love the most, how do you feel? Now, I'm going to guess that not all of the people that you love are perfectly fit and trim human beings, correct? Because the truth is, there are very few fit and trim human beings. So the people that we love might answer similarly about how they feel about their bodies. In other words, most people struggle with body image. And in terms of how they feel about themselves, I don't know how they would feel, but most people, we struggle with our self-esteem in terms of how we feel about ourselves. So we love other people because of who they are and their characteristics and their qualities and the way they are with us and the things that we share together. And they love you for the same reasons, right? For your characteristics, for your qualities, for who you are. The people that love us probably couldn't even describe us very well, right? They're just so used to us. What they love about us is that, we're fun to be with, or we're caring, or we're generous toward them, or we listen to them and we have compassion for them. They love you for the qualities that you have, just like you love them for the qualities they have, regardless of what you look like, your size, right? Is that not true? That is true. I know that's true. And yet, what are you saying about yourself? What are you saying about yourself? None of those words was very positive. None of those words were, spoke of self-love at all. Now, forever in our life, we hear you can't love somebody else till you love yourself. And I always thought, whatever, because I love my kids, and there was a long time in my life that I did not love myself. A very long time, right? Hi, Suzanne. Welcome. Glad you're joining us. So for a long time, I suffered with self-loathing. I mean, not a little bit, but a lot. It was ugly, the self-talk. It was very negative, just like I believe a lot of people struggle with, and especially if weight has been an issue for you for a little while or for a long while, right? We judge ourselves more harshly than anybody else judges us. And so I believe that underneath all of the healing that people do from obesity, which is a disease, right? And we have to recover and recuperate and heal from diseases, any disease. So obesity is a disease that affects not only the body, but it also affects the mind, because your mind is telling you these ugly things about yourself. So we have to heal that part of your mind. And it's not an easy process, and it's not going to happen in a short period of time. Your body is going to heal up much more quickly after weight loss surgery than your mind is. And I don't know where you are in this journey or this experience, this adventure of weight loss, but typically when people have weight loss surgery, for a while they have this spike in self-esteem and confidence, and it's like you feel so much better physically. You feel so much more energetic. You're off medications. You're able to do more things that you weren't able to do before. You're able to wear more fun clothes. You're able to shop in places you've wanted to shop in for a long time. So there's really a peak and a spike in self-esteem and self-confidence. However, that's a short-term effect. If you had self-esteem issues coming into this, right? Because after everything settles down and the weight is off and life is back to life, you're gonna be plagued in your head by the things that plagued you before you had surgery. So if you're saying I'm not good enough, or I feel gross, or I feel lazy, or I feel fat, or I feel disgusted about my body, or I think I'm vile, you may feel better about your body somewhat, but we really need to look at, what is it about myself I don't love? What is it about myself that I don't think is good enough? Because I promise you, that best friend that you love so much, or those children that you love so much, or that spouse you love so much, or that partner you love so much, you would say, I love you even with your flaws. I love you even though you're not perfect. You are good enough. But will we extend that same self-love or courtesy to ourselves? No, we run around with a hammer, bashing ourselves in the head half the time, right? I'm disgusting. Why bother? Why would I even try? Who would want to be with me? I'm just not good enough. And it's not true. That is just not true. So if we're able to and willing to and give others the benefit of that doubt, and even though it is so hard to say to ourselves, and it is, I completely agree, it is so hard. Here's the question: are you willing to? Are you willing to do it even though it's hard? Are you willing to do it even though you might not believe it at first. You don't have to go all the way to the other side and go, wow, I'm terrific. I am the best thing that ever walked the planet, because you know you're not going to believe that. But are you willing to say, my friends love me because of my characteristics, not what I look like, not what size I am, not how much I weigh. They love me. They love my qualities. They love the essence of who I am, right? Good, Carrie. I'm so glad. And you guys are, saying, yes, I'm willing. I'm willing to try. Because here's what I tell people, no matter what the issue you're dealing with, especially like young couples, right? I say, it's not that there aren't going to be problems, because there will be. If any of you have been married any length of time, right? I've been married, how long have I been married? 35 years this year. Trust me, there have been some difficult times, right? So it's not that there aren't going to be difficult times. It's how willing are you to work through those difficult times. My girlfriend and I were talking today about, we've been friends for a really long time, almost as long as I've been married. And, when you're friends with somebody for that long, there are times when you have difficulties. And there was a situation that came up right before this trip, and she made a comment, not meaning anything. My feelings were hurt. So I shared with her that my feelings were hurt. She said, I'm so sorry, that was not my intention, all that good stuff, right? Thank you, Carrie. But it's true. We were talking about how easy it is for us, having been friends for as long as we have, to be able to share with one another, to be willing to share how we feel with one another, to accept that we don't have ill intentions with one another, and to say, thank you for being real about it. Thank you for being honest about it. How about doing that with yourself? How about saying, you know what? Most of the time I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I struggle with my self-esteem, or I struggle with how I look, or I struggle with believing that I'm good enough. But you know what? I'm willing to give it a try. I'm willing to say, I believe my friends are good enough. I believe my children are way better than good enough. I believe my spouse is good enough. I believe my partner is good enough. I believe my friends are good enough. Would it be such a stretch to think I'm good enough, right? Yeah. It's hard when you lose friends from changes. Oh my goodness. You're so right. And that's such a big reality. You do lose friends after you lose a lot of weight. And there's so many reasons for that. And then you feel lonely, and you feel angry, and you feel hurt, and you feel lost, and you feel sad. And it's true. It's very, very true. There are a lot of losses. And here's another thing. As a person develops in terms of loving themselves, and think about this, okay? People who really value themselves as much as they value other people, people who value themselves treat themselves pretty well, right? You treat yourself pretty well. Not all the time, but generally speaking. People who say, I have really great value. I have really great worth. They're going to treat their bodies well. They're going to make sure they get some exercise because they feel like they're worth it. They're worth putting that effort into because they value themselves and want to be their best self. People who truly value themselves want to put good things into their body. Like, they don't want to put cigarette smoke into it. They don't want to put excessive alcohol into it. They don't want to put, mood-altering drugs into it. They want to put healthy food. They want to put vitamins. They want to put healthy supplements. They want to take good care of themselves. So to a degree, and I'm not saying this across the board, but to a degree, the way we treat ourselves reflects how much we value ourselves. Now, I know that obesity is a very complicated disease, so I'm not saying everyone who struggles with obesity doesn't love themselves. I am not saying that. But for most people, myself included, when I'm not feeling very good about myself, when I'm not valuing myself, I don't treat myself as well as I do when I'm feeling good about myself, right? Most of you know that I have been into recovery from addiction for 29 years. And those 29 years have been a gradual process of increasing my level of self-worth and my self-love. And as I've done that, I have lost friends. So like you were saying, you lose friends after weight loss surgery, right? And you develop a different friend group, right? So when I quit drinking, I lost all my friends, really, because they all drank. And I developed, my friend out here who's with me and her husband are both in recovery as well. And she and I had met twice before we met each other in a recovery group. And we've just been best friends ever since. But you do hang around with more like-minded people. And the healthier you get in terms of how you're treating yourself, losing the weight, being kinder to yourself, setting boundaries, saying no, oh my God, the better you treat yourself, the friends who don't feel very good about themselves for whatever reason are going to you're going to lose those friends, and you're going to gain friends with people who feel better and better and better about themselves. And it's just the way it is. The better we feel about ourselves, the better the friends that we have also feel good about themselves. It's just very true. All right, yes, you do find solace, but you also have to grieve the loss of the friends that you do lose. And you have to grieve the loss of food, right? Because for a lot of people, food has been a friend. So back to being willing to say, I'm good enough. I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect. In fact, I don't want to be perfect, because all perfect is if a person tries to be perfect, all they're trying to do is hide the depth of their shame. People who try to be perfect are people who have a lot of shame. In other words, really think I'm not good enough. So get rid of any perfection you have and say, you know what, it's good enough. It's good enough. If things that I write or talks that I give or anything that I do, whether it's a talk with my daughter or my husband or my, a patient group or a physician group, it's like, you know what? Was it good enough? Because you know how you always like, oh, I just wish I'd have thought of this or that or this or that, right? Good. I'm glad you don't have any desire to be perfect, because that's a nightmare, right? Good enough is just good enough. When the self-loathing is so ingrained, what therapies will help? There's only one way through this, and I'll tell you how to describe it. I'm from Iowa. See, my shirt says Iowa. Iowa is a state in the U.S. right smack in the middle of the country near Chicago. And in Iowa, we do a lot of farming, right? Yes, this works with comparison too, because it's just another form of what I call stinking thinking, right? The stinking thinking is the self-loathing. Your thinking is problematic. So the therapy is cognitive behavioral therapy. But let me show you how this goes, okay? And it's the same with comparing yourself, because it's just a form of stinking thinking. It's a way to say, I'm not good enough. It's just another version of I'm not good enough. So comparison is something that you just, when you realize you're doing it, you want to say no more, no more. What good will that do me? It's stinking thinking. So in Iowa, where I'm from, we do a lot of farming. And you guys ever hear a thing called a cow path? A cow path in Iowa is, cows have to go to the barn to be milked, or they have to go to the barn for getting food or whatever. So they cut through the grass. And after they've cut through the grass over and over and over and over and over and over again, there's no more grass, right? Hi, Patrice. Okay, so after they've cut across that grass hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and all those cow feet have trampled over it, we have a cow path. In other words, there's a dirt path in the middle of the field. That's a cow path. And the only way that cow path came about was that it was trampled over hundreds and thousands of times. So the only way to get new thoughts into your head about yourself is to say them hundreds and thousands of times. That's why this is a lifetime process. So you start by recognizing when you're being negative about yourself, and you ask your friends and your family to say, if you hear me talk negatively about myself, please tell me. And then when you are aware, right? Awareness is the first step of change. So when you become aware that you've, been talking negatively about yourself, you stop and you go, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm good enough. I'm good enough. And you have to repeat, I'm good enough, hundreds of thousands of times before it's going to sink in and before you believe it, until you have a well-worn path that says, no more stinking thinking can grow here. Okay? Now, let me give you an example, because don't ever expect this to go away, all right? Because when it's that deeply ingrained in you, it's tough to get rid of. But it doesn't have to be what, makes the final decision. So, for example, I'm in Greece. You love Iowa? How come? That's so cool. Okay, so I'm in Greece because I gave a talk at one of the international conferences for all the, the bariatric surgeons and all the experts in the bariatric world. And of course, when I come to these things, my self-doubt kicks in, right? Whenever I'm around all the, the gurus, my self-doubt kicks in. And this is years, right? I've been a psychologist for years, but it still happens to me at times. But when I'm aware that I'm going, oh God, what am I doing here? These people are all so much smarter and know so much more, right? So that happens. I'm no more amazing than any one of you, by the way. All I've done that you haven't had the time to do yet is work on the exact same things you're working on. So I'm absolutely no more amazing than you are, but I've just had more practice at doing this. That is the absolute truth. So when I'm aware that I'm having those doubts and that stinking thinking, what I do is go, you know what, stop. That will do me no good, right? I went to school just as long as these people. I've worked in the field just as long as most of these people. I know the things that I know. They know the things that they know. We're going to share those things together, and I'm good enough. And I cannot tell you how that helps me. Many, many years ago, like I said, I've been practicing this stuff for 30 years. Many years ago, there came a day when I said to myself, you know what? No more. I refuse, and this is a great word to use, I refuse to talk to myself or treat myself any more critically or harshly than I would the people that I love. Now, I treat my friends and my children and my husband most of the time pretty well, right? But I was constantly beating myself up. Constantly. It was like having a hammer to my head a lot of the time. So if that's you, if that's what you're doing to yourself, find a day and a time. It's like quitting smoking, right? This is the day and this is the time. I'm done. To say no more. No more. I'm not doing that. I refuse to do that to me. I am as precious a human being as every single person I know, as every single person I love, as every single person that I treat well. I am equally as wonderful. So, when you do that, it's not that it's not going to happen, right? Right? It's not that you're not going to have the stinking thinking sometimes. But when you do, refuse to let it take over. Now, how that's going to help you with your weight loss is because when we feel bad and we talk badly to ourselves, A lot of times we soothe ourselves with food, or we punish ourselves with food, and then we go and we eat ugly things, right? Things that aren't going to make us feel good about ourselves. If we think, you know what, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. The kinder we are to ourselves, the more we love ourselves, the better we're going to treat ourselves. And that means we're going to surround ourselves with people who are kinder and better to us. We're going to set boundaries for ourselves because we're important enough. We're going to eat healthier food because we deserve a healthier life. We're going to exercise because in order to stay healthy, I need to be healthy. It's just it builds on itself. And it's not easy, and it's not going to come naturally, and it's not going to happen this week or next week or 87 weeks from now. Although 87 weeks from now, you'll be a lot kinder to yourself than you are today if you put forth the effort to do the work, right? Love thyself. And it's true. And like I said at the beginning, it's like I always thought, oh, come on, I can love other people even if I don't love myself. But let me tell you what's happened in my life since I've given myself permission, and that's something you might want to consider too, is giving yourself permission to love yourself, to say, you know what, I'm okay, I'm good enough. As I've kind of filled my cup, with feeling better about myself, and it's not all the time, but generally speaking, it's a lot better than it used to be. As that's happened in my life, it's amazing how much improved my relationships are with the people that I do love. It's very, very true. So let's just see if anybody has any questions. I've taken up a half hour already. I am so grateful to be able to do this, and so grateful to be on the same continent doing this with you guys. Let's see, almost at the moment that people I feel the most comfortable around are my double S friends, mainly because they understand what I'm going through. And if I say I don't feel good enough, they understand. That's absolutely true. And what I would encourage you to do with one another is to call each other out and say, you know what? What would help me is I would love to come to the UK because I totally love it there. What would really help is to say, let's both say we're good enough. Let's just both practice it together right now. It'll feel some kind of weird at first, but it'll get better. Lorraine, if you could do me a favor right now, say, because you just said, I hate myself. I hope this changes. The only way it's going to change is for you to stop saying that. All right? No more stinking thinking. So how about you type in, I am going to learn to love myself. I think people who didn't have this kind of surgery don't understand it. People judge you still post-op. Absolutely. Absolutely. The judgment is out of this world, right? Here's the thing, though. As much as other people judge, my experience in the last 15 years is nobody's judging you more harshly than you are yourself. And we don't control other people. We can't change what other people think, what they say, how they feel. You can change what you think and how you feel, though. I have a lot of issues post-bypass and feel very low, and I feel like giving up. Okay, get some help, because giving up cannot be an option, and the only failure happens when you give up. There's always hope if you keep moving forward. Good. Lorraine, excellent. I am going to try. Yes. Everyone thinks we took the easy way out. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, does it? Here's what matters. It matters what you think. And what I heard you thinking, based on how you answered the question at the beginning, was that you're not thinking very good about yourselves, right? And the mental aspect, Gary, I could not agree with you more. It is so underrated. You're the same person, but also very, very different. I agree. I agree. I agree. And that's why the vast majority of my work is dedicated to working with post-ops and helping them change how they feel about themselves. Yeah, and you know what, Carrie, I agree with you. And there's so little emphasis given pre and post-operatively to the emotional sides of this. And that's exactly why I do the work that I do. If you guys can work with some of the surgeons, or I don't know how it works in the UK, but I do go to New Zealand every other year or so and do some work with patients down there. So here's the deal. I don't expect to make money to come do that kind of thing, but what I try to do is not to spend any either. So if you can work it out so that some programs would contribute the money together, to get me over there and find me a place to stay and take care of however much money I'm losing by not working, I'm happy to come and do a weekend workshop or a week-long workshop or, whatever we could do. So, yeah. Oh, Amazon.com is where my books are. And I will definitely come back and do this again on food addiction. And if you go to my website, I have all kinds of free handouts that are geared toward, my website is just ConnieStapletonPhD.com. I'll type that in here. Because there's all kinds of free stuff on there, you guys. And I do a lot of free stuff, and there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. If you go to YouTube.com and just type in my name, I have a lot of it. Thank you. Oh, I did that. Oh my goodness, I'm so technology illiterate. But I did get on here tonight, and that makes me really happy. All right. All right, guys. Check some things out. Thank you, Gary. I'm going to be doing some online classes. So they'll be available for people to get, so you can do them on your own because of the time differences and stuff. And the first one is going to be called this, Mind Prep. Okay? So look soon. Oh, God, I'm not doing that. Okay. Look soon for something called Mind Prep. All right? It'll be available to you. And it's some videos about the emotional stuff. Thank you guys for all being here. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Thanks so much. All right. I am going to enjoy my time in Greece with my best friends, and I'm going to remind myself I'm good enough. And that's the take-home message. Just say it over and over and over. Tattoo it on your arm if you need to. I'm good enough, and definitely paint it on your mirror. All right, guys. Good night, and thank you.